Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Kingdom Rush Elemental Uprising unboxing. This is for the More Than Shadows expansion. This is a Lucky Duck exclusive, so it's not like a Kickstarter game file where it's never going to be available, but it'll only be available through their store if you didn't get it during the campaign. So it's kind of limited. So I don't know how long it'll be in their store, if they're just selling off extra copies they have, or if they plan keeping reproducing it. So if it is something you're interested, I wouldn't wait super long to get it. Now, because I have bought, if you're watching in my previous Elemental Uprisings, you saw that I had the Elemenace Chest. Elemenace Chest, which is a big giant thing, contains the base game, all the expansions. So I don't have the proper box for this, so I can't say how it's going to look or any of that. But what we do is we do have all the components. I just had to go and pull each one out a little bit separately. So the More Than Shadows expansion is the first. Is going to have a bunch of new scenarios. It's going to have two new heroes to play as, which we can see here. We have Faustus and we have the Phoenix. It's going to have two brand new bosses. I know Umbra here, and the other one is, if I can remember his name, Gulthak. So we'll have him as well. Plus, we also are going to get a new champion with the Null Catapult, and the Shadow, and some new tower mods, some Shadow mods, and a bunch of everything. So if we kind of look through the book, it'll show us just a brief glimpse of everything we're going to get there. Our brand new characters, which will work a little bit differently than the other heroes, which is definitely a fun, interesting thing. No Catapult cards, Blue Gale Horde cards. We get a new set of Horde cards. Their abilities, Umbra Boss, his miniature. We are going to get our hero trays, more Rift cards. The Shadow Challenge mode, which is actually pretty cool. So it has to be used in all of these campaigns, but then it adds an extra element that you can add to every other campaign to make the game a little bit harder. So we get our mods, some tokens, and stuff like that. So we'll look at our heroes here in a minute here. There's our Shadow Challenge, and we'll kind of go over each of these as we come across it. We're just gonna have brand new scenarios. We will have, I think, 7 of them. Got 7 of them. Some new events. Gonna say how the events work with these. Not new events, but just new events for this campaign. Cool. So that's what we have there. Let's just hop right in and look at our 2 brand new heroes. So we're going to start off with Faustus. He's our water dragon. And so these heroes have a couple of different things going for them. So here's his miniature. And get that to focus up on him a little bit. Oh, I did for a second there. There we go. Yes, we got this cool dragon here. He's kind of popping the rocks. The only thing I noticed, he has a round base versus all the other heroes having square bases. This is due to the special rule that the new heroes have. So this expansion includes 2 new heroes of Phoenix and Faustus, who both have a unique ability to fly. So they have the wing icon instead of boots. So if we actually look at his flip-out board, you'll have these wing icons instead. They don't engage with hordes. They can't be dealt by, and they can't deal damage to enemies by themselves. Therefore, they have a round base, so they can't cover up a spot to do damage. Remember this, try putting the heroes either on damaged tiles or on empty spaces of the horde. Flying heroes can't prevent the movement of the horde. On the other hand, they're never dealt damage. So if the horde moves, the horde has to move and activate to move. They will move. These guys don't take damage though, so they're kind of just hovering above them. Enter all spaces on the map, even inaccessible by other hordes, such as water tiles. The only exception is the space currently occupied by the boss miniature, because it's obviously with that, bosses are too big to set the guy really on the tile, but they can access any other spot on the board. So it gives them a lot more freedom of movement and range and stuff. May perfectly trigger all elemental features and attack shades. They don't retreat whenever a hero attempts to move to space. A flying hero beneath this hero may be the target for champions. So still targets. All their aspects are like any other heroes. And they can use them for any scenarios in the game. And they'll come with their own trays with all their own little tokens and stuff. This guy's kind of cool because we're going to get these magical symbols, but we're also going to get some little dragonlings. So we have some different shapes there for those. Yeah, so that's cool. Let's look at Foster's Switch at the back. Just going to tell us what his abilities do as just a reminder. And then if we look at his board here, we're going to have his basic attack up here. It says put all Dragonling damage tiles in your supply on hordes adjacent to you or under Foster's. You may put at most one on each horde. Yeah, so he's going to shoot all his Dragonling tokens out. So over here we have Flying is a reminder, and Dragonlings. During set, place 2 Dragonling tiles in your supply. So he starts with 2, he places them, but then he kind of can't really use his basic attack too much more unless you get more. You get the other ones back. He starts with, I think he has 3 of them. I think he has a 2, an L shape, and a 3 spot. Yeah, so he's got the 3 different ones. It says teleport room at the start of Foster's activation. He may move to a horde adjacent to or in his space to any empty space on the path or swap a position with another horde in the path. So that's going to be his big thing. He's not going to be doing a ton of damage with his base attack. Because he's not kind of like a backup character. Because he can't land on stuff to do damage. He has his tiles, you can put them all out, which is great. He can do a lot more because we have all 3 of them. You're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tiles worth of space you can put in one attack, which is more than anybody else gets. But once they're on the table, you have to wait until something's defeated for them to come back so you can resend them back out. But like teleporting, and move a horde to an adjacent to or in his space to an empty space on the path. The fact that you can move hordes around is going to be very good. Or swap with another horde in its path. This could be very helpful if you have a speed guy, you can move him way back. Or if you can set up some good magical damage or soldier damage on a certain guy and you need a specific type, you can move those guys around the board. So that's going to be very helpful as well. Let's look at his special abilities, his skills here. I'm going to zoom down a little bit more for this. So we have Enervation, which is his first one. So it does magical damage. Move Foster's up to 2 spaces. This round, ignore all non-armor abilities on the horde and Foster's space. So again, he's going to be very much a support type character with these abilities. That's pretty cool. We have Liquid Fire. So Liquid Fire looks like you're going to place a 4 square, your big 4 square fire out, and then you're going to splash damage the other 4. So it's going to hit 1 and then shoot out to the other 4. But it is melee, so it has to be on whatever tile he's at. But that's still helpful, right? The fact you can hit 5 different tiles with 1 attack. Dragon Lance, our level 2 ability. So place a 2 and then spread it. And ignore armor for this attack, so you can place both of them on there. And then finally, he has Dragon Rage, which is like his passive ability. You makes all 3 Dragonlings in the game. May be placed on the same horde as other. May be placed on the same horde with other Dragonlings. Yeah, so that's pretty cool there. So yeah, normally his dragons you have to go to 1 separate spot and you only get 2. So you gotta decide, do you want the 2s or 2 or the 3 ones, which might, you could change your mind. But if you activate this, now you have all 3 of them, and you can place them all on the same tile, which is definitely great because if you place all 3 on the same tile, or even 2 of them on the same tile, you might defeat that horde quicker, so you get them back, so you can keep reusing them. So that's a pretty cool ability as well. Awesome. So that was Faustus. He's our first dragon character, which is pretty cool. Up next, we'll look at our other one. We have the Phoenix. Yeah, so he's kind of like a watery magical dragon. We're going to have Phoenix, which is, of course, a fire dragon who can rise from the ashes. Oh, sorry. Getting all my things prepped out here. I should have had them ready ahead of time. Let's look at his miniature. There's the Phoenix's miniature. Again, round base, has that flying ability. which is really cool because it does open up, like, you know, having more characters if they made more expansions or sequels to this game. Is a way to, like, add extra thing in there. Alright, so his is going to be... He has 3 health and 3 flying, of course. He has placed 4 fire, 1 spot in front. So he just... Or 5 fire. So he just drops a bunch of single tiles just all over the board. That is what he is going to do. So only one space where he's meleeing at. Or like where he's meleeing, he has to shoot to the next space over. Sorry. So you have to position him right. But he does have Flying and Immortal. When Phoenix loses her last health, her miniature stays on the map. So that's kind of cool. So if she does die, but she doesn't get removed, she still take up... She doesn't take up any spaces anyhow, so that's not going to make a difference. But then you don't have to reposition her several times. It's interesting. I also call her a her. And her activation, we have melee in any direction, true damage. At the start of the Phoenix's activation, when she has no health points, placing edge and 2 fire damage. Then when the Phoenix restores all her health points, it recovers all abilities at the end of her activation. So that's why she doesn't get removed. So if she dies, you drop this on the field, so that's going to take up 4 spots. And then you're going to have drop 2 more flames down as well on that tile in any direction. So that's pretty cool, right? You just, you know, she dies. So basically run her and have her sacrifice. Take hits from stuff. Because it's going to help it. We'll see if her abilities do anything with that. Alright, so she does have some skills here. We have Immolate. Right there. So place 2 of the double tiles of fire and then splash damage another one to another tile. So that's typical. And then you lose 1 heart. So these abilities are going to slowly hurt her, but then she takes a turn to recover, gets all her abilities back. Ring of Fire. Because normally resurrecting doesn't just refresh her abilities. You have to actually do a rest action. It's kind of a little trick there. Place the Ring of Fire modification from your modification supply. You may buy it in the upgrade phase. Okay, so here we have Ring of Fire. So what it's going to do is it's going to give true damage to a tower, and it's going to add 1 additional fire to it. So if I can grab a tile out here, or a tower. Just have my towers over here closed in there. Just don't want to spill any of these out. Yeah, so what this is going to do is, then what you do is you put it on the bottom down here, so it covers up the damage type, and then add your little Ring of Fire to the bottom of the thing. But now you also get to play an extra fire every time you do this. So that's not bad at all, right? That's pretty cool. I wonder if it has any other references on here. So, yeah. So I got back in and closed this so I don't spill all my towers out by accident. Ring of Fire here does say, this passive ability doesn't actually grant the Phoenix any new option, but allows you to buy 2 new tower mods, the Phoenix Ring of Fire. These mods may be purchased during the Phase 6 buy tower mods. Ring of Fire mod gives additional damage and changes all the attacks performed by the mod tower to true damage. Unlike standard true damage tower mod, which only affects basic attacks and doesn't stack with other mods. So this changes all of them. So if I had the magic one, now it would do true magic damage. So that's pretty cool. Their third one is we have Purification. Lets us in any direction play bunch of double tiles. These tiles must be placed in at least 2 different horde cards to just spread out a little bit. And our final one is the Ember Field. Which then lets your egg shoot out 2 more. Place your egg down and shoot out 2 more different fires. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, just some definitely different stuff. You only get 1 egg tile. I think they messed up on that one, though. I don't think that's supposed to be the egg tile. I think it's supposed to be the 4 fireballs. No, it does say that. It says, very powerful attack which uses the egg tile. You can't use horde if it's already placed any horde. So she can't use it while she's dead. And then I'm guessing you might not be able to resurrect. But which one uses the 4 fireballs? Because I did not see an ability with that. 2. Interesting. So I have a 4 fireball attack token that I don't currently have any use for that I know of. Weird. Alright. So up next, let's just take a look at the name of all the scenarios. I'm not going to jump into each one right now. Like, I'm not going to look at them in the book or anything. But we have scenario 1, the Shadows Descend. So this is going to introduce our shadow cards that we get to play as. Sorry, just trying to put away the cards so I don't spill any tokens or anything out. This will introduce our shadow or shades. We have the Sky of Spawn with our known catapulter. Better not get Kraken, so this will let you have the Phoenix come on the board. You can't play as her, but it does stuff. Story time with Gulthak. The Cumulus Nimbus are Shadow Tides. Foscus, the Magic Dragon, and Throwing Shade. So much like the original scenarios, you get one. So each one's going to either add a character into the game, a boss, or a champion, as one of the different things you get to do. Cool. So the other thing we forgot to look at is you forgot to look at the solo card. So Faustus' solo card says, 2 damage. Once during this round, you may swap 2 positions of any 2 hordes. A horde under Faustus doesn't activate or advance this round. This attack ignores tough. And then we have Phoenixes. So it has fire or magic damage in the 3 directions. We shoot a bunch of fire. Place 2 random fire modifications or modification supply made by them. So this lets you access them mods even if you're not playing with Faustus Phoenix directly. So that's definitely cool. Next thing I want to look at before I actually get into the hordes and stuff is I want to look at the Shadow Challenge. So the Shadow Challenge is we're going to get all these different stickers, which you can then, I'm not sure which direction they go, maybe they go that way. And you add them to your map to show that you've done this Shadow Challenge. This is going to be a special thing to do. So it says, this expansion you'll find a new special challenge that may be applied to any scenario in Kingdom Rush Elemental Uprising. It's not compatible with Rift in Time, though. That's something we'll look at when I do the video where I compare the 2 games together. You may combine it with the Iron or Hero Challenge. There are 27 stickers for all the scenarios in the entire campaign, including all the expansions. All scenarios in More Than Shadows must be played with the Shadow Challenge rule. For the Shadow Challenge, you will use the 5 Shadow Challenge cards up to 4 Shade Elementals. At the beginning of the game, shuffle the 5 Shadow Challenge cards and put them near the map. Depending on the number of players, the Shade Elementals in the following spots. So I'm not going to read all of them, but remember, to properly use a Shadow Challenge, you should organize the tower supply in the same way as it shows in the basic rulebook of the Kingdom Rush Elemental Uprising. So what this basically means is you should be doing, your tower should be like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, just so you can grab them easier, because they might affect stuff in there. And then they do have some movement decks, so then you draw cards, tells them how to move. They have different effects. I'm not going to read through all of this, but it says when a Shade Elemental enters the location of the hero on it, the hero is forced to retreat. Whenever a hero enters the same location as a Shade Elemental, it does not destroy the Shade Elemental. Instead, the hero pushes it to an adjacent space. All effects mentioned above apply to the new space, including additional damage done by the Shade Element. Shade Element can't be pushed on a space with any other miniature. If there are no valid spaces, a hero can't enter the space with this Shade. Shade Elements in the tower supply can't be can't be dealt with. You have to plan carefully. Okay, so now that we read that, I should actually probably go back and read what this says, just for clarification. They have just their effects is what I'm more worried about. Shade elements have diverse effects depending on the space they're played on. Players cannot purchase or upgrade to or from a tower with a shade elemental on it. Blossoms are immediately withered, flip to the withered side. If a shade is in that spot, hordes jump over shade elementals on an empty path, and when a shade elemental empties the space with a horde, it deals 1 magic damage to it. A horde in the space with a shade elemental cannot be attacked until the shade is removed. So, with 4 there, that means it's going to pop into a spot, do damage to it, but now you have to move on to that spot to scare that shade away. Otherwise, you can't attack it. Shade elementals on a horde moves along the path the horde it's on. It's just going to stick with that horde. Players cannot place towers on a build side with a shade, and towers that have shade elementals are not picked up during the phase. So basically, they're going to block everything in their path. So what we get, what we are going to get are these 4 little shade elementals. So I do have 3 more of them. They're all the same poses. Yeah, they'll just kind of sit on the board. And then they're utilized also with the different challenges in the mode. They'll change for each one. They're also used with the boss. And then we'll have their special cards. So if we flip them over, this is just going to say how they move. They're going to move down 1 space, back 1 space. They'll have this purple line at the bottom to show which direction they should be facing. So either left and down, or sorry, right and down, up and right, or left and up. And then they don't move this round. So very simple. It just gives them direction on how they're going to move, but you don't know where they're going to move, what they're going to do. It just allows them to move off the path onto other things. So those are shade elementals, and we'll see more of them probably with the other stuff. Up next, we want to look at our first set of horde cards, and this is our... they're called the Blue Gale Horde. So they're going to have special numbers on the back. They're going to say MTS for More Than Shadows. This is to differentiate them from being the waves from the base game, which were numbered 0 to 1. Next to up, it tells you, try to figure out which ones to use. This is how you'll select them. So our green horde, we are going to get a bunch of speedy wolves, the little guys with the arrows, so they'll move twice. And then we have the blue, I keep saying this name wrong, Blue Shade? Blue Gale, the Blue Gales. So what do the Blue Gales do? They have these little clouds by them. Find the exact rules for them. So after all hordes advance, place a cloud token, and we get 4 of these double-sided cloud tokens. So show 1 in each corner. Place a cloud token on an adjacent Blue Gale horde. Hordes with a cloud on them cannot be a target of any attack, and heroes cannot engage them. Shades enter in the horde with a cloud, don't deal any damage, and can't be moved by heroes. 4 horde with a shade on advances, remove it. So basically what this does is after this guy moves, he spreads these out to 4 different locations around him, if there's any guys around him. Then those guys can't be attacked, and heroes can't move onto them. So it's until the next time they move, then it gets rid of them. So it's going to make them hard to deal with. So if you don't get rid of this guy, you're basically not going to be able to deal with all this stuff around them. Plus with them shade elementals, or the shades running around, it's also going to protect all them as well. So then we have our second and our third one. We have the 3 of them. Just the 2 of them? Oh yeah, we only get 2 for each of these instead of 3. So we have 2 of them. Our second one is we just get 3 of these guys, which are definitely going to be a pain. And then for our red ones, we have 2 of them plus 2 of the lava elementals or magma elementals, and some wolves. And of course, their armor means that they have to. You can't put the same type of damage tile on them, so they're going to be definitely hard to deal with as well. So these guys will be very interesting. And then if you play the Rift mode, which you can mix and match all the different sets and things and kind of create like a big deck, these guys will definitely get added in there to cause some extra trouble. Cool. Alright, up next we have our champion. So we have our champion, which is listed as G1 down there. So we know that that's what it is. The other ones are listed, I think, like big numbers on there. They say like C1, C2. So I don't know why they didn't keep that in that numbering order. But we have the catapulters. So no catapulters have special abilities. It says when a horde card with this icon is spawned, place it on a building site of the player's choice is adjacent to its spawn point. Catapult nodes are never placed on path spaces and don't move at all. So instead of spawning on a tile, he spawns into a build site. After Horde advance, for each horde with a catapult icon, deal 1 damage to a hero or the kingdom. And then the scenario that they come in, it says, take 4 of the exclamation point or event markers, place them in the kingdom exit. Whenever you destroy a node, flip it to the flag side to show you completed it, and then you have to defeat all 4 of them. Or defeat 4 of them. Yeah, so very interesting. So they're showing, like in this scenario, it says, no catapult, place this on top of the white build site at the start of the game. So I mean, it automatically is just going to cover up one of those build sites. And so what do we have on here? So it's going to show its icon on the bottom. Just so as a reference for that. You can't cover up that space at all. Like any other boss or any other special effect that you would have. It's just again to denote that it's a different type of tile. But then otherwise he's just a big guy. And then we have 3 yellow versions of him. So I have the yellow on there, which are just same ones basically. And then we do have G2, so if we want a little bit harder difficulty, we get the red version, which will also add the, oh, I forgot what the name of this character is. Yeah, I don't remember what her name is. She has the heal all ability. So what the heal all ability does is, at the end of the round, or when they activate or move, she will heal everybody on that tile and everyone around her. Although they're not going to move, so it'll be just every turn healing this tile and then possibly adjacent guys that happen to be walking by. So each one of these, you're going to get 3 of them just in different spots to make them a little bit harder. So that's kind of neat, because that sits on the tower, then now you have to even play a little bit differently, because now you have to aim something towards one of your towers spaces versus the other ones. And then these healing guys make it even that much more difficult. Cool. Up next, we have our 2 bosses, and that will be what we will have kind of for the game. We're going to start with, I always forget his name, Grultak. So he's our big chieftain. So here's his big old miniature. He's riding on his boar. And I just always compare to like the size of a hero. You know, barely decent size. And they'll always take up 1 full square. So like usual, they're going to have their action cards. And there's 5 action cards to tell him what he's going to do for special abilities. And then he has 2 health cards. So if we look at his health cards quick. So that's his first one. He just starts with everything revealed. He doesn't even have, he has a little 1 in the corner. He doesn't slowly reveal like lots of the other characters do. But it says, the boar roars and shakes off your attacks. It backs up several steps, preparing to charge ahead. Grultak moves backwards 2 spaces, then shuffle the bottom action card from his discard back into his action deck. And then the other one would be the boar groans and collapses. Then Grultak falls out of his saddle, crashing to the ground in a heap. You win. Alright, then what do his action cards do? We have times like those were times indeed. Remove all damage tiles from each horde adjacent to Grultak. Oh boy. The air was damp due to the fact it was raining. Move a horde adjacent to Grultak that does not have a hero or soldier on it in a forward 1 space. So as I said to myself, that shall do, pig, indeed it shall do. Remove a mod from a casing tower to Gulthrak, then return it to the supply. It was then that I considered that my thong may make a great screenshot. All heroes adjacent to Gulthrak take 1 damage. And then finally we have, I was wearing an onion on my belt. It was a fashion of the time. After Gulthrak moves, place a fault line in a space that he moved out of. If this is a 1 or 2 player game, flip the fault line to the smaller side. And then fault lines, of course, make it so you can't use that area until after you land on it enough times to get rid of it. So does he still move? Is a good question. So we do have from his mission here, it says, before you advance any other hordes, Gulthrak acts, performing action from each card. Each card without its discard from the top to the bottom. Then draw another card from performing action from each card in without its discard from the top to the bottom. Then draw another card from the action to perform the action, put it on top of his discard. Then move him 1 space. So he's gonna keep moving then. He just starts on a... So how does he move then? Because it says, oh. We have references. I was thinking the catapult guy who doesn't move. Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty cool. That's why I was confused. I was thinking the catapult guy that doesn't move. That's him. Awesome, so that's our first boss. Our second and last boss is Umbra. So we get this shadow guy himself. And then look, he's got this really cool big old miniature there. He's got some like shadowy pools pouring out of his hand. He's an interesting guy to paint. I wonder if people paint these, if they try and paint them like with these celly shaded type of look like that, like, or if they just paint them to look like more realistically paint. Be very interesting to see. Alright, so he's like everybody else, is he's going to have health deck. So he has 1, 2, he gets true damage only. On 3, he has more tiles revealed, but he also gains some magic damage only. And then 4, a lot of true and a lot of magic. So physical attacks aren't going to work on him nearly as much. And then we have our 5 action tiles. So our action tiles are, we're going to have a couple of them here with health on it, no health on them. 3 of those. And then we'll have 2 of them with building destruction. So what do those do? Says when he advances, draw a card from his action deck, trigger the effect, and move Umbra 1 space. In order to win a scenario, you have to defeat Umbra 4 times. So the first one with the health is going to say deal 1 damage to 1 hero as adjacent to a shade. The other one's going to say destroy 1 tower that is adjacent or under a shade. Yeah, so he's going to go ahead and do stuff basically like everybody else for the most part. In attack number, you should aim at his miniature, but place the damage tiles on the top of his deck instead. Yep, that's like normal. Yeah, so he's basically going to work like everybody else. He just has, shades out. He's pretty... just hard damage to take care of. Then what them shades are going to do extra stuff, which nobody needs that extra frustration with the shades. I am trying to figure out the last thing we have in here is we have shade tower mods. So yeah, we have 2 different shade tower mods. One that does magic damage and one that lets them move anywhere, but I don't see how to place them. 1 second, I'm gonna pause and look. Alright, to figure out what these mods do, I actually had to go look it up on Board Game Geek, and one of the designers responded. Said it's for this, it's anytime you're using this Shadow Challenge, it's obviously the only time you're going to have shades out. These are added just generally into your mod pool, and then now you can purchase them to use. So what it means is that now this, if you add this to one of your towers, you can now deal 1 damage to one of your shades, or if you add one of these, it allows you to move one of the shades somewhere else. So it's just an additional way to interact with the shades in any mode that you're playing with them. For whatever reason, as far as I can tell, this is listed nowhere in the book at all what these do or where they are. Which is a very interesting. I'm going to check the quick glossary. I didn't check there. I don't think they were listed under the mods in there as well. No, they have the Falconeer mods, but yeah, nothing for the expansion mods. Yeah, so it's kind of weird that they didn't add that in there anywhere, but that's what those do. So if you're playing with the Shadow Challenge, whether it's in this version you're playing these scenarios that you're forced to, or you add it into another one, you can definitely then use these to manipulate them guys a little bit more. Alright, then the last thing we have to show off in this set are the Rift cards. So again, these are for if you want to combine all the different stuff together and add extra elements and kind of like create your own scenario at the end of the game after you played through the regular scenarios. And these will let you add different elements and cards from this expansion in there. So the first one we'll have up is Gulthak. So we don't get an actual ability card for, yeah, we do right here. So then we also have his health card, which gets some armor all the way across the bottom, which makes him actually significantly more dangerous. But it says before each turn before moving Gulthak, compare the level of the best tower adjacent to him and the number of heroes adjacent to him. The number is greater than the if the level is greater than the number, return the tower to supply. If the number is greater than the level, deal 1 damage to a hero. If they're equal, players choose which effect to apply. So that's always fun to deal with. The other one will summon Umbra. So if you want to add Umbra as one of the random bosses, is add shade miniatures to the game. Depending on the number of players, they work the same way as in a Shadow Challenge. Remove all shades after defeating Umbra. So this is a way to, like, now you have to fight the boss, you're also forcing shades into the game, which might not have normally been playing with. And then here's his thing now. He says that true damage as his magic, but spread out in different patterns. Then the last one we get is we're going to get Catapult. So place a G1 horde on the building site adjacent to the spawn stacks. This is our gnome catapults. It's just going to let him pop into the game, which would definitely be crazy. Then we have the Gathering Storm. Place a Dark Cloud tokens depending on the number of players. 1 cloud on a solo game, 2 in a 2-player on any hordes. So 3 for a 3-player, 4 for 4-player. On the map, you cannot attack hordes this round. So it's going to make use of them shadow tokens without having them Blue Gale guys out, which is pretty cool. And then finally, we have the Clash of the Titans. Shuffle all remaining Rift boss cards and add 1 random boss to the game. Place it next to the spawn point 3. It has no special effects. Don't use the boss reference. But like all bosses, it can't be directly attacked by any miniatures. So that's kind of cool. So this just lets you take all the different Rift bosses you've had, shuffle them together. Now you might get a random one out there, so you don't know which one you're going to get. But it doesn't have all their special effects. Like if you played Umbra, he wouldn't add the shadow elements in there. But it's just them on the board as a presence. So that's pretty cool. Alright, yeah, so I didn't add more of these cards. It's definitely a neat way to go about the game. Alright, so that was More Than Shadows expansion. Yeah, if you're really interested, yeah, 2 extra bosses, some new mod cards you can play with limited things, new extra challenges with these shade elementals, 2 brand new heroes which work very differently than the other heroes, which is pretty cool. New champion, so lots of fun stuff to add. So if you're just looking to add a little bit more to your game, this is definitely an expansion to pick up. See you guys later. Bye.